perspective is that, like, I remember someone talking once about a spoon, hand-carved spoon that from an African tribe, and it was this beautiful piece of art. And there were no artists in that community. They were just people that took great care with the things that they had and that were, rare for them, right? And then I thought about how, we'll just churn out a spoon, and it's just like, it's a spoon. And then we'll go to a museum to see the beautifully hand-carved spoon. We have to get in our car, go to the museum.
Why is that, do you think? What is that saying?
Well, everything's broken apart. Like, when I'm happy with my neighborhood. It's a fine suburban neighborhood, and it's very near all kinds of wonderful things. But I was reflecting the other day on how I set foot outside the house, and I walk around, and it's not as beautiful as it could be. Each person has tried to make their own little house okay on the outside. Sometimes they try to make it beautiful. They make it beautiful on the inside, probably. All of the way the land is now on that hill in El Sobrante is because of the plots that were laid out by the county 100 and so on years ago, right? That meant, which of course were laid on top of the Ohlone, which just lived in the land, right? But because the plots were built a certain way, because our Western human mind has divided everything into little boxes, then we were sold little boxes, then people bought little boxes, and then I have 100% dominion around my little box, and 0 dominion around your little box, and very little reason, of course more and more with the car, to even talk to you necessarily and relate to your little box. So the boxes are a construction. The Ohlone didn't think of things in boxes. They didn't say, you have a right to be here, but not here. That was so foreign, of course, that's part of how they got their land stolen from them. And then I have to drive to a place that's beautiful. So there's something about that with the spoon, the African spoon and the Target spoon. We've broken our lives apart into 1,000 pieces, and then I think we suffer in all kinds of ways that sometimes we even forgotten that we suffer. Like when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and you remember, Berkeley, Oakland was this kind of tribal, many tribes, but tribals, communities of people that lived in this contiguous space that was relatively affordable and kind of funky and interesting and kind of expensive for the time, but it wasn't really expensive by now standards. And the likelihood, we didn't know about El Sobrante and Pinole and all that, and it's kind of neat that we've learned about these places, but the point is, when I was growing up, I would set my feet on the street in Berkeley, and I was part of a connected web of spaces that you could bike through, walk through, with beautiful gardens, and my feet could take me from one end of Berkeley to the other. My bike could take me, and I was physically connected to the store, because the store was 12 blocks away, or the record store, or the cafe, and it was part of this connected web that I was physically connected to. Whereas now it's like, nope, you've got to get into your little spaceship, and then you've got to fly to this other zone, and it's the mind, it's the function of the mind. It's one answer is that it's part of living in a society in which the mind has gotten too much control, and we've lost touch with the body and the heart. Because the mind, what does the mind like to do? What is the mind good at? What is the mind talented at? Creating categories, boxes, delineations, definitions. But then, of course, when you get too much in the definitions, you lose the heart, and that's what we've done.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop.